Onward, Christian Soldiers is a 19th-century English hymn. The words were written by Sabine Baring-Gould in 1865, and the music was composed by Arthur Sullivan in 1871. Sullivan named the tune St.Gertrude after the wife of his friend Ernest Clay Ker Seymer, at whose country home he composed the tune. The Salvation Army adopted the hymn as its favorite processional. The piece became Sullivan's most popular hymn. The hymn's theme is taken from references in the New Testament to the Christian being a soldier for Christ. For example, 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 3, "Thou therefore endure hardness, as a good soldier of Jesus Christ." Early history. The lyric was written as a processional hymn for children walking from Horbury Bridge, where Baring-Gould was curate, to Horbury St. Peter's Church near Wakefield, Yorkshire, at Whitsuntide in 1865. It was originally entitled, "Hymn for Procession with Cross and Banners." Quote, according to the Centre for Church Music, Baring-Gould reportedly wrote Onward, Christian Soldiers in about 15 minutes, later apologizing. "It was written in great haste, and I am afraid that some of the lines are faulty." Quote, he later allowed hymn book compilers to alter the lyrics. For example, the Fellowship Hymn Book, with his permission, changed the phrase "one in hope and doctrine" to "one in hope and purpose." For the 1909 edition of Hymns Ancient and Modern, he changed the 5th line of the same verse from "we're not divided" to "O divisions harass." Quote, however, Baring-Gould's original words are used in most modern hymnals. Baring-Gould originally set the lyrics to a melody from the slow movement of Joseph Haydn's Symphony in D, No. 15. This was printed in 1871 in an English church periodical, The Church Times. The hymn did not receive wide acceptance, however, until Sullivan wrote the tune St.Gertrude for it. Sullivan reused the tune in his Boer War Te-Deum, first performed in 1902, after his death. Another hymn sung to the St.Gertrude tune is Forward Through the Ages, written by Frederick Lucien Hosmer in 1908. Later history. When Winston Churchill and Franklin Roosevelt met in August 1941 on the battleship HMS Prince of Wales to agree the Atlantic Charter, a church service was held for which Prime Minister Churchill chose the hymns. He chose Onward, Christian Soldiers, and afterwards made a radio broadcast explaining this choice. "We sang Onward, Christian Soldiers, indeed, and I felt that this was no vain presumption, but that we had the right to feel that we serving a cause for the sake of which a trumpet has sounded from on high. When I looked upon the densely packed congregation of fighting men of the same language, of the same faith, of the same fundamental laws, of the same ideals, it swept across me that here was the only hope, but also the sure hope, of saving the world from measureless degradation." The song has been sung at many funerals, including at the funeral of American President Dwight D. Eisenhower at the National Cathedral, Washington, D.C., March 1969. Apart from its obvious martial associations, the song has been associated with protest against the established order, particularly in the case of the civil rights movement. An attempt was made in the 1980s to strip Onward, Christian Soldiers from the United Methodist Hymnal and the Episcopal Hymnal 1982 due to perceived militarism. Outrage among churchgoers caused both committees to back down. However, the hymn was omitted from both the 1990 and 2013 hymnals of the Presbyterian Church, the Australian Hymn Book, published in 1977, and its successor, Together in Song, published in 1999. The Spiritualists' National Union Hymn Book has a variation on the hymn, entitled Onward, Comrades, Onward. In some modern Anglican hymn books, it is replaced with Onward, Christian Pilgrims, set to the same tune. In popular culture, largely because of its association with missionaries of various types. The song is sung in a number of movies and television programs. The 1939 film, Stanley and Livingston, depicts Dr. David Livingstone spiritedly leading a choir of African people in this anthem. The piece appears in several other films, including Major Barbara, Mrs. Miniver, Elmer Gantry, A Canterbury Tale, The Russians Are Coming, The Russians Are Coming, M***ASH, Taps Reds, Striptease, The Bush Baby, The Ruling Class, Walker, Androcles and the Lion, and Fly Boys. It is also sung or played in episodes of TV series, including Little House on the Prairie, Boardwalk Empire, The Simpsons, The Ren and Amp, Stimpy Show, Little Britain, Upstairs, Downstairs, Lark Rise to Candleford and Dad's Army. Onward, Christian Soldiers is the title of a 1984 album and song by the British narco-punk band Icons of Phil. In the book Sins of the Assassin by Robert Ferrigno, the song is the national anthem of the fictional Bible Belt. In Christopher Webber's 1993 play Dr. Sullivan and Mr. Gilbert, the hymn is used with new words about Sullivan's rise to fame, and the artistic compromises that entail Christian zeal and activity. A 1973 work by American composer John Adams is an arrangement of Sullivan's tune. The hymn's tune has also been used as the basis for many parodies, including Lloyd George Knew My Father and Like a Mighty Tortoise, Moved the Church of God, Brothers, We Are Treading Where We've Always Trod.